If I had $1,000 right now and I wanted to make it big in crypto, here's exactly what I would do. There are two different options. Option number one is the relatively high risk option where you take the 1,000 knowing you're potentially losing it all, but you're trying to flip it into $100,000 or $1 million, something along those lines. Or what I think most of the people in my family, most of the people that I speak around with, around the world want to do, turn that $1,000 into multiple thousands, for example, $10,000 or so, to just kickstart their journey. As I think in the crypto space we often forget, but a few $1,000s or doubling your money can still be life-changing to a lot of people. You don't necessarily have to turn your $1,000 into $7 million to be successful. Turning $1,000 into $1,500 is still a very big accomplishment, especially because I believe most people that are starting right now will most likely be able to do it within the next few months. And the reason I say that is because as it currently stands, we are on the brink, on the verge of a pretty massive move in the crypto market, or at least I believe so. And I don't think I'm the only one with these thoughts. Here's, for example, Michael Saylor, who basically runs a company that specializes in buying Bitcoin. How funny it sounds, that's kind of what he does. That's kind of what he's known for. Thinking about adding the next green dot on Saylor Tracker. Now, what Saylor Tracker is all about is those green dots in the Bitcoin chart over the last 5 years or so is basically where he decided to buy more Bitcoin. One thing that becomes quite apparent is that even here recently, at the $100,000 plus mark for Bitcoin, he still decided to add more to his stash. And I think for the most part, the explanation there being that this is still relatively low for what's about to happen. We have Trump coming into the crypto space. We have some agencies switching their members that were kind of against crypto before. And so with all that in the back of our head, yeah, if things are starting to look good right now, it's definitely wise to get in. Now, let's quickly talk about what I would do, Or I should say switch the topic to what exactly I would do. So first of all, I take a look at what cryptos exist. I think a very important step is just realizing what exactly is out there, because you can't make money on it, in my opinion, or at least it's not necessarily that wise if you don't even know what's out. So if I had $1,000 and I knew nothing, I'd start there researching a couple of the top coins. And you want to know, I wouldn't go further than the top 20. I'd look and press on every single one of them. For example, you click a coin, you go to the About section. Let's give it a little second to load. We go to the About section. I'd read a little bit about what it does. Now, if you don't understand anything of what it says, there's two options. One is you copy this little text, or you just go to ChatGPT and ask, hey, what is a simple explanation of what this coin does or what this or that crypto is about? And even though, again, it might all be difficult at the start, you need, in my opinion, to have a little bit of an idea as to what the crypto space is all about if you want to invest wisely. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you don't need to know, you don't even care, or you already have some good idea, it's all about step number 2, which is to go to a crypto exchange and get yourself some of the right coins. And basically what I'm talking about here is which coins I'd buy with $1,000 or how I'd subdivide my portfolio. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a crypto exchange to trade on, this is not so much buying, mostly just trading. There's a link down below to Blowfin, which you can use from anywhere in the world. And we're giving away 2 iPhone 16s. Just check it out. Link is down below. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be giving that away. And again, the trading recently has been pretty good. XRP has been moving beautifully from target to target, let's call it. With on both platforms, Blowfin and Bybit, the trade's looking pretty damn juicy. But let's just quickly move on. So let's just go and talk about portfolio number 1, which is kind of the opposite of what I said at the intro. If I wanted to turn my portfolio from $1,000 to like $5,000, $10,000 over the season, I'd stick to some of the top coins. I'd skip Bitcoin and ETH. A strategy you could go for is go to a platform like Bybit and long it with, for example, 2x, 3x, something like that. So it's very hard to get liquidated, but you still get triple the results of Ethereum. If we estimate Ethereum is going to end up at, for example, $9,000 this season, let's just call it a 3x with an additional 3x because of the leverage. That could be a 10-ish x or so on your coins or on your money, which would mean, of course, $1,000 to $10,000 with pretty minimal risk, in my opinion. Not financial advice. Everything is risky. Of course, you should only go into this knowing you could lose everything. but that's one of the strategies. Preferably though, I'd go for just, if I wanted to buy spot, for a coin like XRP, Cardano, and just some coins at the top. Why? Why not lower? Well, I probably, if I had $1,000, could think about it. But I have set up many portfolios for many people, right? And I'd say most of the time, I just stick to top of the top coins because it's quite difficult if you have to buy it on all these different platforms and all these sketchy exchanges, or if you have to manage a whole bunch of different wallets, etc. I always like to just keep it in one exchange wallet. It's not that safe because of whatever. I always say, hey, make sure you store your crypto in safe devices, etc. But if we're talking about $1,000, even $10,000, $20,000, as long as you're being a little bit cautious, not letting your password get hacked, exchanges for the most part, in my opinion, are fine. I personally think even for just a few $1,000,000, it's fine. If you're talking about 40, 50 million, maybe not, but it also depends. If you're trading, it does make sense. So let's not even get into the wallet situation today. Let's just talk about keeping it in a different video. So to get back to it, I've noticed that most people, when they get into this stuff, and those are most of the people that are asking, hey, what would I spend $1,000 on? They don't really fully know how to buy all the small coins yet. They might not know how to operate Phantom, etc. And I say, you know what? Make it easy for yourself. If you don't want to spend too much time, it's most likely best to just stick to some of the top coins, extremely liquid, less of a chance to go down 90%, and still coins like XRP could see an 8x or so over the cycle. So I'd probably just stick with some of them ones at the top. You might ask, which one specifically? I don't think it matters that much because you're not 100% sure which one is going to do the best. All we know is that if we stick to the top of the top, there's a very high likelihood that if we look back over the next 6 months or so, that they'll be up a ton. And I think nearly any coin here has a pretty good probability of doing that. There's a couple of coins I'd probably skip. Bitcoin Cash, Leo, just some, or BGB, some coins I don't have that much of an attachment to myself. But you know, the funny thing, even BGB, for example, I said a while back, I don't like it for what they do, but still the price has been doing amazing throughout the last few weeks right here. So even to that extent, even if you don't like something, sometimes it just completely outperforms any other coin. To continue on though, so that is for my strategy number one. If I wanted to be pretty certain to turn my $1,000 into $5,000, $10,000, the two options are, one is go for one of the main ones, Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, go for it. But even I would preferably just do it with Bitcoin and ETH, have a multiple X long open, maybe 2, 3X, maybe 4X, for example. So you make sure you don't get liquidated. Keep the long open for a while because if these coins double or triple over the next few months, obviously that's also slightly more gains you're getting. Or buy yourself a leverage token, for example, Bitcoin 3X or Ethereum 3X or even Sol 3X, because you can't get liquidated on those, but they have 3 times the amount of gains with, of course, also 3 times the amount of downside, but it's about the upside here. Down doesn't matter too much, right? It's about how much we go up if we go up, because of course you can always lose your money. Anyway, that's what I personally do. And that's what I recommend to most people. Stick to the top. Don't think about it too difficult. However, if you're a person that says, nope, I want to turn this $1,000 into 100, a million, whatever, just crazy numbers, I'd stay away from any of these coins. You know, you could, for example, open a 10x long on a coin like XRP, because if it does a 10x like we hoped it would, well, that at that point is pretty damn crazy because it could do 100x on whatever money you had. So if you had $1,000, maybe if you're lucky, you get $80,000 out of that. But opening a 10x, but that requires a little bit of extra strategizing by making sure you do not get liquidated also on a bigger move down, because you got to hold that for a long time, because XP then needs to go to like 25 or something like that dollars, which might take a little bit of time. Regardless, I'd stay away from most of the top if I did not want to stay with leverage trading, because that's what I personally would do. With any one of these scenarios, it also depends how risk tolerant you are. If you're a person that likes a little bit more risk, well, that's what the strategy we're talking about today. But again, it has 2 parts. One is whatever I just described, going for the top 10 coins, etc., but with more leverage. That's one situation. Situation number 2 is actually to stay away from any spot holdings in the top at all and just go to small coins. AI, for example, or AI memes, even these at the top here are way too large. We just want to go for things that are on the up and up, you know, that haven't had their come up yet. So for example, if we go to AI memes, a lot of these are already huge as well, 700 million, for example, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of these could still do a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70x or so over the next few months, especially since AI right now is so hot. one thing I would probably try to do is see what the next narrative is. Right now, it seems to be a lot of the coins built by virtuals or on virtuals. A lot of these AI agents seem to be doing really, really well. I mean, $60 million market cap is already extremely high for those type of projects. But for example, try to snipe new virtuals launches, or I'd go to Twitter, see whatever is launching soon. For example, this project right here was really, really hot over on Twitter throughout the last few days right here. And it makes you think, you know what, I don't know what the ticker is, or I can't find it on CoinMarketCap yet. I just wanted to say, some people that got an allocation turned their little bit of money into a few $1 million straight away. You probably couldn't have done that, but if you were early, perhaps still you could have gotten a pretty good result, maybe a few X or so. And I'd kind of just keep flipping that to flip it, to flip it, to flip it. For the most part, just sticking to whatever narrative is hottest. So for example, right now, AI memes are by far the hottest sector in terms of the massive gains. You know, and over the next run, it will most likely continue like that. The downside being that you could still, in a bull run even, go down 70% from your high point, and you got to be more careful about Binance listings or the first listings that a meme coin can get, because those all allow for massive offloading, etc. But that again becomes like almost a full-time job to monitor things and really go for it. Again, there's two parts. Some of my friends say and are highly convinced that the best way to go about these memes is to buy one that's small and pray, and just spam it like crazy everywhere and hope it just pops off. I personally think it's not the most efficient because you only got a couple of shots to make it big, but that's also where you can kind of work for your bag and potentially make it grow. I personally think it's better to go and try different new hot narratives and just kind of keep trying. Not in the pump.fun trenches, not when the coins are like $8,000 market cap or so, but you know, some significant size or something like that, hoping that the run is going to bring them towards higher gains. Why? Well, because that's again where a 10x, for example, can happen in just a few days. Whereas if we're talking about top of the top coins like a Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, etc., it could go pretty fast. XRP did a 5x in just like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. But most of the time it doesn't, right? Most of the time with Ethereum, for example, it's going to take a few months to do a 2x, for example. Not always, but most of the time. And from that perspective, even though these are way less risky, there's also way, way, way less profit potential. That's, of course, something to keep in the back of your head. Of course, you can also stay with big memes like 𝗵𝗵𝗃, etc. that will most likely still do like a 10x or so over the season. But again, 10x, if that's everything you're looking for, then you can stay with the top of the top. But if you're looking for way more, again, you either have to leverage it, so use your 10x, or I guess use your $1,000 as if it's more than $1,000 to hopefully get more than a 10x out of it, or what? Or just keep switching to the hottest narrative time after time again, even with your spot bags, but that's also quite difficult to do mentally for the most part. But anyway, if I had $1,000, that's probably what I would do. If I had 10,000 or more, I'd probably split it up. For example, $8,000 to high confidence bags, and then $2,000 to this leverage strategy. But at $1,000, I kind of feel as if it's not really worth splitting up because it's going to take so much time. But relative to the amount of money you have, I'm not sure if that is worth it. But the higher the amount, the more it makes sense to split it up into different sectors and to start growing it from that perspective. I made many videos like this before, though. And again, the more money you have, the easier this entire game gets. And I don't think the hardest part when it comes to crypto is really making the money. It's securing the money. So when we're talking about, can everybody make a 5x? Probably, yeah. Probably most people that are entering right now will be able to make a 5 or 10x. But it's also about at that point or some point saying this is enough. And it could be that your 5x would have turned into 7,000x. And I'm saying such a high number because it really could be. And the question sometimes is, do you prefer to see your $1,000, for example, go to $5,000, knowing that if you had held on, it would have been $3 million? Or, the other side is your $1,000 went to, a crazy amount, but then right back down to $4,000, so less than the original option. But you saw it go to a crazy high point. It's all a matter of when exactly are you going to sell, or actually I should give the scenario of your $1,000 goes to $7,000, for example, but then goes right back down and you decide to sell $4,000. So with one, well, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Where it's all just a mental game for the most part, because sometimes holding on would be way better. Sometimes selling it immediately was way better. It all just depends. And so my words of advice, which are not financial advice, but just my thoughts, are the space will most likely grow a tenfold this season still. If you're not 10x in your portfolio, you've done it wrong, but it's okay because you've got another season in the next few years. I do believe in the deteriorating results, though, that every single season is going to be less and less profitable. But still, this season I think is going to be crazy, partially also because the regulations are not that far in just quite yet. But hey, enjoy it while it lasts. If you're looking for a place to trade crypto on, I've got a link down below. Check out BLOF, check out WEX, whatever. Some links are down below. And I hope that you've put your notification bell on the channel, so if something crazy pops up and happens, you are notified. And that's about it for this little crypto update. That's what I would do. But if you have a different strategy, let me know down below, and that's about it.